Well, we're here at the Treehouse in Haworth with Keighley Cougars head coach Jake Webster. Jake, the 2024 season has just finished. How do you reflect on Keighley Cougars season?
Probably a season that could have been. We've had a bit of a up and down season behind the scenes as well as on the field, but it's also a good starting point for us to build into next season for sure.
The goal was promotion. You just fell short in that grand final against Hunsley. How much of a setback is that to the club?
That's a setback for sure. There's no doubt about that. We had a goal at the start of the year was to get promoted. It didn't come to light, but we've still got our bums down, bums up, heads down, working hard to make sure that we can rectify the problems that we had this season. In all aspects of the club, the playing squad, behind the scenes, the staffing, and we've been working pretty hard over the last 3-4 weeks to pull everything in the line and make sure that we can hit the ground running going to pre-season this year.
You've had time to reflect and review the season. What changes, improvements are needed moving forward so Keighley remain on that right course, which of course ultimately is promotion back to the Championship?
Well, there's a few things that I see. The playing roster needed a bit more tweaking. We needed to work on the spine a bit, which we've done in the signings that we brought in. We've got a fair bit of stuff that we've needed to work on in the training facilities. As you see over the last few days, we've upgraded the gym to have a wrestle section, which is a paramount part of the game. I think every aspect of the game you do some sort of wrestling. I think we missed that last year, and so we've worked hard, and the club's worked hard to make sure we can get those things put in play. But I think we need an identity as a club. I think we lacked that this year, and that's one thing that we were working really hard this coming pre-season to make sure that the boys know what's expected, the standards that we need to have to make sure that we're successful, and I'll definitely be driving them.
For you on a personal note, you started 2024 as director of rugby at Cougar Park and you finished it as head coach. How was that experience for you, Jake, and what have you learned from this season?
The experience is, you can't buy them. It's been a very up and down year for the club, as I said before. But for me personally, I've learned a lot in my journey, and I think that'll set me in good stead going into this season. There's a few things that will be changing, and that'll be off-field stuff. With my staffing, we need to set the standards, and we need to set them early, and make sure we adhere to those standards, and then we build from there. Because we can't steer a ship with a wonky steering wheel. So that's one thing that'll be at the forefront of my focus, and then we just build from there. The boys will buy into it, and if they don't, we'll find a way that they can.
How important is that continuity and stability now moving forward?
Very important. That's probably a big part in why I've stayed on. To bring someone else in, it upsets the apple cart, as they say. People need to buy into the vision that the club has. The boys need to buy into a new whole system. So that played a big part in the appointing of me staying on as head coach. But I think that's how you build the foundations of a successful and an enjoyable environment.
Matt Foster was removed as head coach in July, Jake, with some seeing that as a controversial move. Right here, right now, knowing how Keighley's season ended up, was that still the right decision for the club to make?
Yes, I believe it was. It was somewhat taken out of our hands with some comments that were made. We all sat down and discussed the direction of the club. The board did, and the comments that were made was something that we could not push to one side, and for us to be able to move forward for the longevity of where the club wants to be, the decision was made, and we stand by that. The results probably don't show that in the fans' eyes, but we needed to make sure that the longevity of the club and where we were heading was looked after, and we could keep continuing the direction that we wanted to go in.
It was announced last month that you will continue as head coach for 2025. How was that decision ultimately reached by yourself, and did you speak to anyone outside the sport about that decision to carry on as head coach of Keighley Cougars?
No, rugby league's been home for me for many years, pretty much my whole adult life. I did see myself stepping away from the field at some point, which was hopefully going to be the season that's just gone, just to refocus myself, spend some time with family. But the longer I spent away, probably the more itchy feet I got. I've been working on my level 3 in the background for the last year and a half now, and I've almost completed that. And I sort of live by something, if not me, who, if not now, when. And the time now has come. I'm ready to step up and take the reins on a permanent basis. I feel confident in the people around me. I feel confident in the staff and the owners and their vision, and being able to execute that, and confident in the playing squad. Now we just need to put all that into practice and make sure we start delivering on a Sunday when it counts.
You've been at Keighley as a player and now coach for over 5 years. This project is clearly something that is close to your heart, that you're passionate about, something that you genuinely believe in.
Yeah, well, as you said, I came here 5 years ago, knowing that my playing career was, days were numbered, and Ryan and Cowie believed in me, gave me an avenue to venture into life after footy, and whatever that may look, whether it be commercial, coaching, foundation, and I think I've dipped my toe into every possible avenue that I could, and everything always led back to the field for me. And now that the opportunities come back, 360 back to the field after stepping away from playing, I'd be silly not to take it. I know I'm ready, and I'm confident in the skills that I've learnt over the years from the coaches that I've been involved with, from the teams I've been involved with, from the big games that I've been involved in, and the environments that that I can bring a new, fresh feel to rugby league that I think we need, and I'm really looking forward to it.
The owners, Ryan and Cowie, have certainly backed you, citing that they have listened to the players, the playing group, and say that you have the full support of the players, and that was ultimately an important factor in offering you this position. Yeah.
I appreciate them as much as I think they appreciate me. I owe them a lot. They've put their faith in me in a lot of different roles, as I said before. But now to take this responsibility on, I'm really, really looking forward to it. I'm excited, and I don't want to let them down. And it's a step in the direction where I see my life now is still involved in rugby league, and I'm happy to be a part of it at Keighley Cougars.
And just on Ryan and Cowie, Jake, they're clearly ambitious for the Keighley Cougars. What is it like to work and support their ambitions for Keighley, to get back in that championship?
It's special. You don't get a lot of owners that are that as ambitious as those two. They've supported me in everything. They've supported my family, and the least I can do is repay them, and get them back to where they need to be. I came here in 2020, and that was 1920, and to get them out of, my prime objective was to get us out of League One. I did that with the help of, Scott Morrell and the other senior boys, and, under Reece. But, the job's not done, we're still not in Championship. We got relegated, so that's my next goal, for sure.
There were rumours that potentially Anthony Murray was going to take over for 2025, but he's since been announced as Whitehaven head coach. Was there anything in those rumours?
We met with a number of coaches, leading into what happened at the club. We got it down to a short list. Anthony Murray's name was there, but we touched on it before, keeping the continuity of the structures and stuff we had in play. Brian and Cowie speaking to the people they needed to speak to and do their due diligence, and when it came down to making the decision, we had a meeting, and they asked me to merge my roles. Said think about it, and I was overwhelmed. I was excited, and after speaking to my wife and seeing the family life was alright, I could see it be, playing a big part in the next step of where I need to go. So, that's where that all came. There were a lot of names thrown up, and we had a lot of meetings. But yeah, so that's where that came from.
In 2025, there's a lot of first-time coaches who are stepping up. You look at the appointments last weekend, where Kyle Eastman is now the head coach of Halifax Panthers, Danny Maguire at Castleford, Paul Wood at Swinton Lions. Do you see this as a changing of the guard and a move away from traditional coaches? Is this a good thing?
I think it is for the future of rugby league. Where your next coach is coming from. It's all good and well recycling coaches, but you need to start giving these young coaches who aspire to be like these coaches that have been before them an opportunity. And there's no better place to start than in League Ones and Championships. It's all good and well being an assistant coach at a Super League club, but you need to take the reins at some point. And I think the teams that have taken that leap, are looking to the future, which I think is nothing but great for the sport.
And how important is it that people will look at yourself, Paul Wood, and see that there is that pathway post-playing to go into coaching, to still be involved in this great sport of rugby league?
It's very important. Well, otherwise the game dies. I think you look at the fan base, and a lot of these fans that were trying to get involved have watched the likes of me and all these players play through their career, and now they'll to bring them back into the game, or to get them excited about something, is I used to watch him play. Let's see their journey now in coaching. So it's just a lot of these older coaches like JK, Brian Noble, and that, a lot of these younger generations would never have watched them play. So this is one way of keeping that engagement of the younger crowds, hopefully. And then it's just a fresh look. We've all got new ideas. Everyone recycles the basics, but let's get a bit of energy and a bit of youth involved, and I think it's nothing but great for the sport.
As a player, you've had a decorated career with a number of achievements, including winning the Tri-Nations with New Zealand. You've featured in grand finals, Challenge Cup finals. What do those experiences teach you?
They teach you a lot. They teach you about the environment that is required to be, at the top end of the tables, or being in those big games. The coaches that I've had, I've learned a lot from. I'll pick and take different pieces from everyone that has an influence on my life, and mould it to my style and the way that I want to coach. I'll surround myself with people that I know I can trust, that buy into the same sort of principles and philosophies that I do. But it's, I think that's moulded the person and the player I was, and I don't think it'll change the way that I coach either. I'll take everything that I've learned, the good and the bad, and put into play that structure and the way that I see that I want to coach. But in saying that, every day is a school day. I've got to learn how to talk to the players individually, learn them as a person, and make sure that I can get the best out of them to benefit the team and the club the best way I know how.
When you look at some of the coaches that you've played under, Craig Bellamy, Brian McLaren, Daniel Anderson, Dean Lance, Darryl Powell, John Keir, there's a lot there to absorb and learn from. Some of those names roll off the tongue. They are some of the coaching greats of the sport.
Yeah, I don't think you've got to go too far past Craig Bellamy. He was probably the biggest influence I've had, and was probably the reason. I'd say one of the biggest reasons I got so far in my career. He instilled some qualities and standards and beliefs and principles in me that have driven me to those big games that like you just mentioned. And I've never been someone who would go to a team that was already established, and I don't know why. That I always went somewhere where there was work to be done. KR when I first came over here. If you go back to the NRL, Melbourne when they were first in, fair enough, they'd won a grand final, but they'd only been in the competition 3 years and they were still building. Gold Coast first year. We said KR when they only just got back in the Super League, and so I'm not afraid of hard work. I know what it takes to be successful or get to those big games. I've just got to find a way to channel that and be able to teach that. And Cass, great example. I think they were weeks away from going into administration in 2012-13 when I signed there. And that journey taught me so much about myself and what it takes to, because I was at a different time in my career then. I wasn't just starting off. I needed to not reinvent myself. I needed to find my best footy again. I probably had a lot of hope and promise when I first came over, and I didn't reach those heights. And it was a bit of a wake-up call. And then going to Cass, I really enjoyed my footy again. Emil got me there. There was a bit of an uproar there, and he got shown the door, and then Powley came, and he was a bit of fresh air. I liked the way he was. I don't think it'd be wrong of me saying, but me and Powley were like that. Not a love-hate relationship, but he knew he had to ride me, and I was still probably thinking that I knew better sometimes. And he brought me back to understanding that it's hard work and the things that people don't see, the basics that you need to work on day in, day out. And I think that's something that we lacked a bit this year at Keighley, the basics and understanding what it takes just to get into a game flow and understand that it's not the flick pass, it's not the chip and chase, it's the game flow, not being the first to crack. So that's, they're the things that I've taken from the coaches, and I've just got to find a way where I can deliver that in a way that the players understand and that is believable and that I believe in. So I'm really looking forward to the challenge, and I'm can't wait for the 19th of November.
When you look at Keighley's squad and how it's shaping up for 2025, some exciting new players. You look at players Brad England, Isaac Farrell, Brad Holroyd, and some young potential stars in Leo Ayu and Oliver Whitford.
Yeah, there's we identified where we needed to strengthen, our spine, and I think we've done that, and we've done that really, really well. Faz coming in is just coming back off the back of international duties. He's been at Sheffield for I don't know how long, and he's been in and out of that squad, but he's definitely a very high quality half, and that's something that we've been missing. Bringing Harry Bowes in, someone who's electric around and hungry around that 9, can read a game, that really piqued our interest, and to get him done so quickly, and to have a chat to him, and he's so enthusiastic and wants to be involved in what we're doing here is nothing but great for the club, and I think it'll be great for the team. But one thing is that I do want to make sure that we develop players. Bringing these young fellas like Leo and Ollie, and we've got Tane coming in as well. I think that's how you define a coach. It's not about just going out there and getting 20 of the best players and just going out there and just say play your best. It's about bringing these young players in, developing them, and having an imprint and a footprint on their journeys. And that's how I see my coaching journey. We've got those established players, but I also want to make sure we develop the youth, the up and coming players who could go on to bigger and better things.
You look at the players that we've just spoke about coming in. There's also been a number of key retentions: Jordan Schofield, Aaron Brown, Lachlan Lansky as well. Yeah,
they've proven that they're up for the challenge. A perfect example is Scully. He came here, and I don't think he had been shown a lot of love or done a lot of individual coaching. I sort of took him under my wing when he first got here, and I saw growth in him quicker than I've seen it in a lot of people. But in saying that, that's down to his hard work and him wanting to get better. And I think that had a really big part of me wanting to get back out on the field, just seeing the impact that you can have on just the youth and sharing your experiences from my long journey in the game. Otherwise, what have I done this for? That's what it really boils down to for me. Lockie is great. I've just got to keep him on the field. He was someone who is very professional. Is a big personality in the team, and the boys love him. So all the boys that we've kept for the right reasons. We've got GF there as well, George Flanagan, who's just a character around the place, brings so much on the field, but off the field I think he's just as valuable. But we've put quite a tidy squad together, and we've just got to make sure we can pull it together and make sure that we're all on the same page.
The 2025 season, Jake's going to look a little bit different this season, because obviously the Super 8s return. League One certainly going to look and feel different, because if you're in the top four, you're going to be playing them bottom four championship clubs, and anything's going to be on the line then in those situations. Yeah,
and that's exciting. I think that middle eight at the end of the year adds a different excitement, a different pressure, and we've just got to make sure we're in the mix at that time, build nicely towards the back end of the year, and make sure we're in that top four. But I'm excited for it. I'm pretty sure the boys will be excited for it, and it's something that we can all look forward to.
How do you assess League One in 2025? The runners and the riders, looking at it now. I know we're doing this in the first week in November, but it does appear to me that it is quite wide open.
Yeah, it is. You've got Rochdale, who under Gary, he's gets him playing well no matter what squad he's got. Dunno just coming off Coach of the Year. He's got some finances there to put a really decent squad together. You've got North Wales, who are rebuilding really nicely. But then you've also got Gould, who just come in, with another new fresh coach just coming out of playing over the last couple of years, and Scott Taylor. So it's going to be exciting. We've just got to be consistent. I think if you're consistent for the League One season, you'll be in the mix at the end of the year. Make sure that you've got depth in your squad, your rotations well. You do your rotations well, and keep as injury free as you possibly can, and make sure we're fighting fit towards the back end of the year. Then anything can happen in that Super 8s, that middle 8s.
And just finally, Jake, do you see 2025 as a chance to make up for the club's failure to win promotion season just gone?
I don't know if make up is the right word. It's just continue the journey that we're on. Everything happens for a reason. We've been able to reshape a bit this year with us not going up. I know it wasn't what we set out to do, but sometimes you need to reassess and make sure that we've got all our ducks in a row. You know, and I don't think you're ever going to have all your ducks in a row in rugby league. There's always things that are out of your control that you've got to just got to flow with and adapt. I think we've done that quite well this year. We've had a few things thrown at us, some of it being, on the field, but, also some off the field. But one thing I don't want to do is go like we did after the 2022 season, blow everything and go straight to the championship and go back down. So the one thing that we're very, very conscious of is making sure we're sustainable. And that's in every aspect, finance-wise, bringing youth through, making sure we've got the right things in play off the field, like our talent pathways. The women's team's starting to come along nicely, but we've also got some exciting things at the ground. With the stadium refurb. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and we've just got to make sure that we manage all that and we move at the speed that we know that we're comfortable moving at.
Webster, thank you for your time, and thank you to the Treehouse here in Howth for hosting us this afternoon.
No worries, thank you.